Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Everybody, this is your famous and intellectually sound show. And I want to make sure y'all all know that this song was by Jasmine Crowe. Damn. Jasmine Guy's an actress. Jasmine Crowe's my girl. Don't get it mixed up. This is the Jim Price, the educational, analytical, development. Yeah, I'm pissed. Radio show, the educational, analytical, development radio show. Jim Price is in the house, and he's got no host or bar anymore. So y'all better be listening, and you better share this out to your friends. Yes, Jasmine Crowe is opening for Jim Price. Jim, let him have it, bro.
All right. What's going on, audience out there today? Once again, this is your host, Jim Price. Also children's book author of Harold from the Hood, Adventures of Harold from the Hood, children's social skill building
It's
series.
one of them days, bro. Trust me. I'm down with you right now, man. Trust me. I'm really, when I say I'm down with you, I'm down. I mean, look, I'm sorry. That message I sent you, that information I sent you about COVID, I know that pissed you off. And I know what we talked about before the show pissed you off. I'm just going to let you go. Go ahead. You can rant if you got to rant. But I'm going to say we got to tear some people's ideologies up.
Oh, yeah. I mean, when we talk, from an educational standpoint, as being a male black educator as well, of course, I have a different perspective on a lot of things that happen in terms of the levels that happen in the educational system. So I do have a different perspective. Being a black male, I counsel kids and things of that nature. So I have a little bit different perspective, especially when you talk about the cultural perspective of how education treats people of color in the system. But also, this bounces off a lot of different avenues, and also how a lot of these educational systems, the educational system uses their budget to a certain degree and not being able to totally service a lot of teachers and all these professionals that are working within the system. So first of all, I use this as a perfect example all the time. Teachers will go out of their way and will spend their own personal money on items that I hear teachers all the time. Yeah, I had to go to the store. I had to go to Walmart and buy like crayons, pencils. I had to go to Walmart and buy little Bobby and them utensils to use for this project or whatever it is. Teachers are pouring out of their pockets to get items that they need for their students when the school already has a budget. And that, there should be a side budget that's set aside that the teachers can tap into that is not correlated with what they buy. I know in some situations they talk about reimbursement, but reimbursement happens very little. I've seen a lot of teachers buy a whole bunch of stuff and not reimburse a penny of anything, which is not fair. You know what I mean? Especially when you consider that the budget of a lot of these districts it's a lot of money that they're in their budget. So, if they could carve out a part of that money to be able to help these teachers instead of have to go in their pockets and all this stuff when they're already extending their days. Most of the time, teachers and stuff, they're going beyond the limits of the regular typical school day, and they're working after hours.
Oh, after hours? Hold on, Jim. Yeah, I'm here with the educator as well, Nida. And I'm going to be honest with you. After hours, sometimes this woman's up till 1 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
You starting school at 7:30, 8 o'clock? Come on, where's after hours at? And I'm gonna say it honestly. Do you people actually outside here realize what teachers really do? It's not about, I gotta do grades. No, it's not about grades. It's like I gotta prepare myself so I can protect my own ass.
Yeah.
In case you parents believe that your little Johnny, Buffy, Jody, asshole little wants to be more than he is and complain against me because he didn't get a grade or he didn't get anything beautiful for him. I mean, the world that we live in is not made for teachers, not made for humans, and these people are jealous, sadistic. These parents are ridiculous. They're beyond ridiculous. They don't have no ideological view of what really goes on in the classroom because they believe little Buffy, they believe little Jody, and they believe that they are right. Did I sum it up?
I mean, that's a part of it too. And I think a lot of parents, they need to be thinking in more regards of being accountable for what their students are doing. I know little Bobby, we always think little Bobby's the perfect angel. Yeah, at home, he doesn't do X, Y, and Z. At home, he doesn't. I mean, but he's not at home. Little Bobby or whatever is not at home. He's in a school setting. So, I mean, there's going to probably be, in some instances, because the parents are not in the school, there's probably going to be some behavioral differences that you'll see. And then, the other side of that, I mean, just the snowball on top of all the stuff that the teachers are out their own pockets and stuff like this in terms of the budget and all that stuff. I mean, I've seen this happen. Like I've done this to myself where I've gone to CVS or somewhere Walmart or whatever to purchase items for the kids that should already be. I shouldn't have to even go to the store and buy any of that stuff.
But hold on, Jim, didn't you say the school has money for this stuff?
Yes, they got money, but they don't carve no piece of that to be like, okay, we're going to set aside this amount of money and be like, okay, the teachers, if they have, this is the pool of money. The teachers, if you have needs and stuff like that, instead of going and spending your own money and not being reimbursed, this will be the pot that you get your money from to buy these items. But in most districts, that never happens. And most of the time, teachers are spending way beyond their means, way beyond their limits or whatever, because they're already underpaid to try to get all these things that the students need for their lessons and stuff like that, to follow the curriculum of what the district has put out and all that stuff. I mean, and that even dwells further into how spending is done. Like when you look at that aspect of how there's no money set aside for that, and then you bring in another whole part of it in terms of how public schools deal with private schools and the spending that happens there.
Oh, you about to break my heart when you say public versus private. Is that called the royal screw job?
Let's go there.
We got to go there, but is that called the royal screw job?
Oh, yeah. No question about it. I mean, pennies on the dollar. You have a kid in public school, it's pennies on the dollar, versus if you put that same kid in a private school in which the public schools are paying for, and most of the time they get state funding and federal funding and something like that on top of what the district is paying out for them to go to that school. Now you have them paying a huge lump of money to that private school to have that student go there. You're paying a huge lump of money for transportation for that kid to go there, especially if that kid lives like out of state. There's sometimes you get out of state placement where the kids is coming from out of state to go to a private school, and that district has to pay for that transportation.
What?
I mean, it's and then it's the private school, public schools, and then it's like we have the battle. The public school is in there battling against the charter schools, against getting students to go to the charter schools because they're supposedly supposed to be more academically inclined to have students have a lot higher chance to maybe go to college and things of that nature. I mean, but people screw up the numbers. They always just push the numbers to the way they want.
Okay,
anyway, that they can make the charter school be what they want it to be. Because if they don't have those numbers be the way it is, then what's going to happen the next few years? You lose your charter, and then you're out of the business.
Okay,
you know what I mean?
Jim, I think the people need to understand the difference between public, charter, and private. I mean, I have a definition, but I think yours will be better than mine, because if I say charter, it means I'm specializing in some kind of area, like science, technology, blah, 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 blah. And public is, for people, and private is, hey, I'm spending more money, so I should get better quality. But what would you say it is?
I mean, for me, charter schools are about coming to the base, getting the baseline, getting the proper setup to say their students are successful and their students have a certain college admission rate, which adds on to what they feel would be, okay, this makes our charter school more prestigious than any public school, right? And I mean, and then you could throw in the private school part of it. It's like they're just sopping up all the cash. Because most of the time, those private schools, they have private schools for gifted kids. Yes, they do. They have private schools for behavioral kids. But in the end, the bottom line is these private schools are in the business. It's a business still, regardless of how you put it. It's a business, and they're trying to make their money too. So all of them, they have that dynamic of trying to make their school be the school to go to that's better than the public schools, that will allow your child to have more increased and open opportunities within their future and within their lives. I'm a product of the public schools myself. I mean, it wasn't best education. Probably midline or whatever. You know what I mean? But even after all that experiences, that didn't shape the direction that I went in after having a public education. I mean, there's people in private school who went to private school and they're working at Burger King or CVS or something. You know, I'm not belittling those jobs, but saying that a lot of these schools, I'm just like, I went to the prestigious, and they just put this, it's almost like a label. You put labels on all these things and feel like it's going to have you have more credibility because you went to this prestigious place or that prestigious place, this prestigious college or not, even with the private schools and charter schools. Like we just had that happen in our state just not too long ago. We had the Sabbath International Charter School.
Oh my God!
Yeah, everybody wants to sit there. All the head honchos, all the politicians, all the people who make important decisions in the city were sitting there, crying to get their kids into that school. And of course, the school had a waiting list too. You know what I mean? Because it was prestigious Sabbath International Charter School, right? Mm-hmm. Everybody's sending their kids there. You know what I mean? You got the fire department, all their kids. You got all the government officials. They're sending their kids there. You got all the regular people trying to get their kids in there. All the political figures sending their kids there. They had to hold a certain standard, and the standard was this is the prestige. This is the international charter school, and we have a set standard where we have a 97% rate of kids going on to college to higher education to better their lives and do X, Y, and Z and excel in certain areas, which is okay. That's fine. You know what I mean? But as soon as things start going down the hill and then leadership, I guess, kind of had a couple of debacles or whatever, all of a sudden they lost their charter.
What?
All of a sudden they lost their charter. And all of a sudden it became the, I forget what the name of it now, but it wasn't Sabbath International anymore. It was something else.
Hold on. So they changed the name because they lost the charter and they lost their credibility. And I bet the IRS and everybody else is looking into it. And who's laundering money through that school?
Yep. And so guess what has happened? All of a sudden they're struggling to get kids to go there. Families are like pulling out of there like a
Ray Roach house,
like a herd of cattle stampeding out of the valley.
Good God!
They're getting out of there quick, fast, and in a hurry. It's hard to even get people to apply. I mean, the overnight change just because of a charter change in name, and how that impacted that particular school.
Yeah,
it shows you, man. And I mean, do you think that the DESE and all these people in the public education, are they trying to really help to build that up or help them like, hey, we're going to be here. We're going to try to help you.
We got our money. We got our money. We're running.
Yeah, their agenda's on something else. We spending our money over here. Y'all just try to stay afloat. Here's a life raft. You sink or swim. Sink or swim. Now it's time to learn to sink or swim. Like, here's a life raft for you. Do what you got to do over there. We're not going to facilitate any money or any more allocate any more money to that situation over there.
Well,
it's crazy.
Damn. Well, I just let people know I just had Taco Bell to get a Taco Bell. I had Taco Bell, pizza. What was it? I think they got 13-pack or 12-pack, whatever it is. And I threw the Diablo sauce on it. Let me make sure people understand Diablo. Mm-hmm. I am the devil. Don't worry about it. And we're here to just tell you the truth. Look, I'm going to say it nicely. Jim doesn't buttercup. He doesn't make it sweet. He don't add sugar to it. He tells you the damn truth. And to be honest, I'd rather have somebody that's progressive like that. Oh, did I say the word progressive? Yeah, progressive. You know why? Because the Democrats got progressive, and look at our country. Look at our educational system. Look at our way of being. Look at our way of life. Look at everything that's happening right now. We're progressive. We're progressive, and you ain't got no goddamn oil. You're progressive, and you can't afford to buy gas. And the government ain't giving you no discount because you're a school teacher, educational, or a worker. Ain't that a shame? But we ain't going to go there. We're going to get you right back to where we want to have you. We want you with your kids. And I'm going to tell you right now, honestly, Jim's the most progressive that I've ever met. I mean, I thought I knew some progressive teachers out there, educators. Don't say teachers, educators out there. Because, I mean, teaching is a job. Education is a lifestyle. And this man is a lifestyle. Believe me, trust me. Look, he writes books based on the ideology of children. I mean, think about that. He uses their thoughts, their ways to create a book for you to see. He's soon going to have a film. Hey, I'm chilling out. I'm waiting on that because, I mean, Wall-E sucked. Jim may be a lot better. But I'm sorry. Wall-E sucked, man. Look, for about a half hour of just... Yeah, that's what he did.
That was a Pixar film, too, man. That was Pixar.
They made all that money off these dumbass parents. But it's okay. I mean, if y'all buy stupid, that shows you where your kids are. Damn, did I just say that out loud? Jim didn't say it, I said it. The bottom line, Jim, let me ask you a question. And you know, me, I got my new favorite people.
Yes.
Yeah, I got my new favorite. I'll let y'all know honestly. You know I don't lie. So, you know, the bottom line is I am drinking sangria. Wine sangria, just to let you know. I don't know what Jim's doing over there. I won't even quote on it if he wants to speak on it. But the bottom line is, I will be having a shot glass full of whiskey because if I have to deal with your damn kids every day with your screwed up ideology as a parent, and listen, I'm not talking about the parents that are understanding of the teachers and the parents that want the teachers to just make sure your kids properly educated. No, I'm not talking about you people. You people, y'all special class. If you only knew what these teachers have to really go through. I mean, between called a bigot, between calling racist, between... it's not the word itself. It's the intent that the parent pushed towards these teachers. Yes, I'm going to keep going. Between having your little Buffy, Jody, or whatever the hell it is. I went back to the age of Family Affair, so you can kiss my ass. Between that and what the educational system really wants, let me explain something straight up simple. Hate me if you want. I don't care, because I like being hated. Most of your people are sitting on your councils, and even Jim will tell you this, so I'm going to say it straight up, that are the educational board, or councils, if you want to call it, for your children are gay. That means they never had children. White. Hold on. Excuse me. You said white? Well, you must be racist. No, I'm not racist. I'm being honest. You're dealing with a country with a 80+% color ratio.
Yeah.
You don't know what's going on in my community. You don't even know what's going on in the hood. You want to live your life living in the impersonalization that you know something and you're full of shit. You don't understand getting up in the morning hearing gunshots at 6 o'clock and the only time you got freedom is between the hours of 7:30 and 9 because they getting a break because they can close down drug deals and sales at the time. All right, you don't understand that stuff. How about this one? Never had children at all. How the hell you gonna have somebody on an educational board that has never had a child?
It's crazy to me. That's almost similar to if you have a substance abuse counselor who has a client
Then
but they've never smoked weed, took a drink of alcohol in all their life. But you're going to sit up there and tell the client, I understand what you're going through.
Oh my God, man, listen.
What you're going through, I understand. No, you don't understand because you haven't shared the same experience.
You haven't even, you haven't smoked the rock, you haven't drank the wine, and you ain't even shot up. So how the hell you gonna open your damn mouth?
They're going to be trying to, render the service. And then most of the time, especially when you talk about the inner city cultures and inner city experience, a lot of the times, the clients, they're being subjected to people who are going to be going back to the suburbs after they finish counseling you when they've had no experience, no kind of experience at all in what the inner city experience is like.
Well, that's the problem with the educational system, Jim. I'm going to say it straight up. You got these cosmopolitan, book-reading, non-existing in reality individuals
Yep.
that live in these grand mansions, and you got kids living in an apartment complex where drug dealing is going in and out, and maybe in our household, and you're going to tell the child, it's okay. I work with you. I do this, I do that, I do this. You're going to make all these damn promises. But see, when you go to the board, it's like they look at a broad scale, and, the broad scale doesn't even add up.
Yep.
You're a bunch of liars and hypocrites. And I'm sorry. I'm going to say it straight up, Jim. You don't have to open your mouth on it. Educational system is a lie. You educational consultants is a lie. You people out there that believe that gay guy can teach your child better because he has a better attitude and ideology. He ain't ever had a goddamn child. Where the fuck you coming from? Last but not least, when you actually sit back and think culturally, with this color on our skin, I'm not talking about just us black people, but I'm gonna say predominantly right now at this point in time in our culture, we got the Hispanics, we got the Arabs, we got the blacks, you get the color variants right there. There ain't no Krispy Kreme looking like this damn piece of paper right here. We got the Mexicans, we got the Latino community coming in here. No, they tan, baby. They don't burn.
I know from experience with myself. Now, like I said, I'm a black male counselor, so I do see a lot of different people. Now, there was times when maybe I was finding my way to establish myself and get myself established and stuff like that, and settled into my role, what I was going to do with whatever district it was. I've had experiences where, I've been told in interviews, right?
Did you say we're told?
Yeah, or like directly told in interviews, like, you're a kind of big guy. Do you think you would intimidate the kids? But what is that really supposed to mean? Because I'm a big black guy, that you think I would be something like that? Like I'm a children's book author, like I've been in the field for a while. Why would that question even come up in the interview?
Now that's racism, just to let you know, right?
I'm just saying.
We're going to open and call it out. That's racism.
That's an experience that I've gone through. And there's others too that I could mention. But that particular experience always held a place with me. Because after that interview, it was probably like maybe a year or so later, I was able to debunk that personally through having the time to work with that population of kids at that they were talking about at that time in that interview. Well, and those kids, in that interview, and that experience, once I got that opportunity to work with those kids weren't intimidated. Those kids weren't scared. Those kids were actually curious.
He's a big black man. He's a big black man. He's gonna come and take your children. He's gonna make them this. They gonna feel. What's the word I want to use? Because I feel intimidated. Oh my God.
I could not believe that was asked or told, or like brought to me like that in the interview. And I'm sure there's a lot of other racial cultures that are just bigger than me and taller than me and everything, and they don't have the same complexion. And I'm sure that question would never been thought about. And on top of that, having all the like my daddy always would say, you know, in the world of America, you always have to try to you got to put yourself above and beyond, because, you know, that's the way the world is, especially in the culture, the American culture. So a lot of that influenced my decision to go and get my certificate of advanced graduate studies. So now I have a common name, but now when you see my, you know, that thing, I've got
I like the fact you said common name. That's the key right there. Listen, if your name is Robert Anston or Jimmy Cross or, hold on, let me give you a non-common name, Jamal Watkins.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I'm trying to let people understand when he's saying common name, okay? Continue, Jim.
So it's like I have
Jamal. Look. Hey, I'm gonna be honest with you. If I was a man and homeboy named Jamal came to my house and he was talking to my wife about, you know, our little Buffy and Joey, I'd be kind of scared too. Jamal might get the job done that I don't get done. Jamal might take my woman. Yeah, you know, come on, listen. A percentage of our listeners have that Caucasian complexion, and a percentage of our listeners have problems with issues that pertain to their need for greater affection from their loved ones. I'm trying to be nice, Jim. You can see I'm trying to be nice. And then we got those kids of those individuals that have fear situations because they're scared of little Travis and little Bobby and little Rebecca. Just like you sons of bitches out there change the colors to the pens that the teachers mark from red to a nice little pretty color. I'm sorry. The bottom line is red means you're wrong. And that means you're wrong. Kids, understand, it's okay to be wrong. But now, if I had a Jamal come up in my house, as I said from the beginning, to visit my wife, I'd be questioning Jamal, especially if he comes up looking a little brazen, little big, little stocky, you know, like he can work twice as hard as I can. Jamal, oh, calm down, Jamal. Shit. All right. The bottom line is, think about the educational system with all those little pretty little things, little young things from that came in to say they want to help somebody, and they meet Jamal. Tyrone. Look, you better call Tyrone. Call him. Okay, now you got Jim with a nice name. He's got the price for you. Jim Price.
This or that. If I just look at the name, oh yeah, you don't know what I am.
Yeah. See, I'm trying to be nice, Jim, and say it the proper way without them being offended. But you know, Jim could come out saying, "My name is Jim Price." Pricer.
Until I walk in that door, and that's when the other thing changes. I said, "Oh my goodness, you're Jim? You're Jim Price?" Yes, I am. What is the problem? Why? Because I talk dignified when I'm on the phone?
Oh, like you could be Thug Love, baby. You could be Thug Love, Jim.
I mean, that side is there. That's the alter ego. Slim is the alter ego. But I keep him packed away. You
keep him packed away. We got to put him in the closet, Jim.
The professional is, that's Jim Price.
Yeah, okay. That's the man. Look, Jim Price to be the man. But the one you don't want to speak to is
Slim.
Jim Price. Oh, shoot. You see him all shaking. Oh, shoot. And he walks down the court. And listen, the worst part about it is this. Let me be honest. The worst part about it is it's not the students that are being affected by this.
Yeah.
It's those teachers.
Mm-hmm.
And they think they're, hold on, let me give them the name that they deserve. Educators. They believe in, like, the old philosophy belief is, I put one and one together and make two. If we can get together, I find that perfect or that good guy that wants to be with me and I'll be with them. And we got his income and my income. We pull it together and we got two. It's like the old school. I mean, that's old school. And the ideology is that with the 1 + 1 = 2, which is what I was talking about. So in case you people are stupid, ignorant, or demented in any form way, you ain't catching on. You got Big Jim, who's telling you the price. Meeting Miss Estelle, Miss Vicky, Miss Shaniqua, or whoever. They pull it together, they make two, and you can't just make one out of the two. And the system don't like that. The system don't want teachers to be with teachers, and the system don't want teachers to help the students.
Yeah.
And especially, they rather have you just spending your money on those little kids that, hold on, stop, Jim, freeze. Aren't those kids belonging to those parents? Yeah. So why the hell you got to spend money on those little SOBs? Help me out. Get me where I need to be, Jim. I don't understand. I'm just the paddle boy. You beat me. Hold on. That's reminding me of 1975, 1976, All right, Jim. I'm just the guy. Let me turn my head the right way, because, what's up, y'all? Why is it that the system don't want teachers to get together? The system don't want teachers to date and marry and blah, blah, blah. The system don't want the kids to get educated, real life experience. The students are now given more power, but they can't exercise it. So, because they're minors, they can't exercise no power. Just to be honest, sorry. Why is it that the educational system shines upon the intellectual growth of teachers? Why can't you? Why are you not allowed to get a PhD? Why do they discourage you by working the shit out of you? Why do they discourage you by working the shit out of you when you're a counselor or they don't want the school nurse to become a doctor, so we're gonna work the hell out of her so she stays nursing. I mean, there's some backdrops that no one wants to talk about in the educational system. And guess what, Jim? You're the only man I got in the world that don't really give a goddamn what these people say. You need to reload, because I'm about ready to reload. I'm at a half of what I had in there, bro. And you know me. I'm in God mode. I got my hat turned sideways like I'm some yo boy, and I'm trying to get educated. And I ask these questions because you people out there are too either dumb, ignorant, stupid, or relaxed to deal with the questions that I'm asking. So I ask them for you, because you know something? In a few years from now, you'll be the adult humans that are going to suffer at the hands of your own. You say it came from a sperm donor. You can't say it came from a husband. I don't care. It came from the person that you chose to make the baby by. You will suffer because you're not allowing professionals like Jim and those school teachers out there that are true to enable your children to a better life and a better form of education. You're allowing these counties, cities, states to dictate to you what you must do, instead of you telling them what you need to make your child more, what's the word, human, more of a, give your child a more of a challenge, or maybe if your child is in senior, junior high school, to make your child more profitable for those intellectual schools of learning, of higher learning, such as colleges. Yes. Your child could be ready for them. I mean, listen, I went to a college prep military private high school. And I'll tell you straight up right now, they taught me one thing in the world. Think for your goddamn self.
Yep. Don't be getting caught up in getting motivated or having other people dictate how you think.
Yeah.
And I think that's a big thing that happens. I mean, that's not in the field of education, but this happens across the board. Like having government, education, all these folks like kind of dictate how you should think about the structure of education, the structure of government, the structure of how we should influence and go with the flow of how we raise our kids. It's now become a problem because now, I mean, we have so many different aspects involved in how we can interact with our kids. Like when I was growing up, as a kid, I had responsibilities. If I didn't have a job, I was having chores. I was going to be cleaning the tub, taking out the trash, washing dishes, doing the things around the house. Because at that time, it was about you help where you rest your head. That was what my dad used to always say. You help out wherever you rest your head. So even when I got a job and I was much younger, in my younger days, I would help out the best I could because that was the whole dynamic of what it's supposed to be about.
Do you remember, Jim, I got a question for you. Do you remember back in the good days when you had kids like 13, 14 years old and they would do, newspapers and they would do jobs that, they can get a couple of bucks for and they felt pride and they grew beyond it? Do you know anything of today's world or within the educational system, since now it's called child labor and they changed the names of it? Do you know anything within the educational world where children can actually gain a little couple of bucks in their pocket and get some experience?
Well, I mean, they cut a lot of that stuff out because, I mean, back in the days, I mean, you still have you can't make money. Of course, they'll train you. You got a lot of vocational schools that will train you in certain things, but you're still not going to make money. But back in the days, when I was probably, in my father's time, when they had schools, you could be learning a skill and actually generate a little cash while you're at it. You know what I mean? But a lot of that changed when the structure of how, especially the cultural dynamics changed in terms of how the family structure was and tearing the family structure apart of culturally underprivileged families and things like that, tearing the fabric of all that apart through the addition of welfare and things of that nature, and making it so you're creating like a thing where you have a dependency on government to
a bubble for the government. Are you saying that there's a bubble out there for the government, and not only in the educational system but in the social system?
Absolutely. You create this dependency and all this stuff, and now your family tearing families apart, and then you wonder why today you see that was all implemented purposely. But you see today how, in terms of cultural things, you have a lot of black families who are single parent households. So many of them today.
Well, even Latino families. You don't forget the Latinos.
Latino families, that are people of color who are having, single family households. And all that was predicated toward all that back then by, creating a fabric where, okay, we can split up the fabric of the family. If we could do that, then we can keep control of things. We can keep order. We can keep control. We can keep power of a lot of the things that happen. We can keep control of a lot of these things.
Well,
you know what I mean?
I got to say something. I got a friend named Scarlett. That's her name. I'm going to say Scarlett. Ramirez. I give her so you can know her descent. Mexican. And yeah, life is scary because she's a single parent of 6.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, divorce. She got rid of a man, you know what I mean? She's looking for love and looking for a life, looking for someone that could be her partner. Sounds like me.
Yeah.
All right, I need a partner. I need a person that can handle my weak side, or cover for me when I need that that break. Because I'm
Yeah.
just like, I mean, running 3 networks is very difficult. I don't have the time. Now, just imagine if I was a child and all I got to do is pop in a TikTok and it goes viral. Okay, it goes viral
Yeah.
for what reason? Maybe because of the content? No, it's not because of content, because of stupidity. Are they telling the truth? No, they're not telling the truth. But the bottom line is this. There are a lot of singles out there that make waves. And we fight
Yeah.
hard to make way for not only ourselves, but for the public. Now, I mean, yeah, this is the educational, analytical development radio show, and we're trying to help you understand some things that are true, face, true to the point, true to life. I mean, cultural dynamics is an issue. I mean, you got more people coming to this country than a few back in the days. And because Joe Biden opened the borders and said, yay, you can all come in. And I'm sitting here like, do you understand what you just did? You just gave a free pass to anybody and everybody that wants to come into this country to become citizens of this country. Why would you do some stupid shit like that after we're just suffering through COVID? But that's another story, and that's another topic that I know you want to hit real soon. Because, I mean, this is educational on that point. But on the other side, I got to say that in the interest of humanity, we seem to be getting screwed educationally, socially, culturally, and our faith-based religions are prospering because of that. Because we're bringing you this, we're bringing you that. Excuse me, the money we're giving is not to God. The money we're giving is to you. So you can stand up there and have a house, take your kids to Harvard. Yeah, you people don't realize if you have 1,000 people in your parish, in your church, and everybody gives $5 to $20, in 6 months' time, I have college tuition for my kid.
Yeah, easy.
But Jim, these people don't think. They feel, and that's the issue I have. They feel. I feel like I believe that, and in reality, all that feeling and believing is just like a hill of beans. It's just like a want and a desire. Do you know what the want is? Do you know what your desire is? Because neither one of them are accurate.
Yeah.
I mean, we're being led like sheep, and the educational system is a indoctrination of sheep. Your child is a sheep. It is a number. It is, and the way you have to really think about it, Jim, as I tell the people all the time.
Yeah.
If you sit back and look at your life and you say you want better for your child, you're lying to yourself, and those educators are lying to you. 90% of the children are just being passed along.
That is the absolute truth. That's the absolute truth. I mean, I've seen that, in essence of my experiences too, where, I mean, you're like, this kid is passing. He's been gone on, and he's going to be passed on to the next grade. Probably don't rarely be in class. Like, rarely does any work, but pass on to the next grade. How is that a service to that child? Like, how is that a service to them? How is that service to the child that's in that situation? Maybe they need to have extra help. Maybe they need a one-to-one. Maybe they need extra tutoring.
What happened to tutoring? What happened to tutorings?
Yeah,
Does it still exist?
I mean,
Do you have in your school? Let's be honest. Let's say it straight out. In your school, do they have tutors for kids that want to better themselves, to better their information, to be able to pass these classes so they can move to the next level? Do they have that? Tutors?
Not per se, no.
Not per se. That's a smooth answer. Everybody, let me give you the real answer. No, they don't.
No, they do.
No. I don't want you to say it. That get you in trouble. I will say it. No, they don't. In other words, your kid is hanging out to dry. And we're just going to do the No Child Left Behind in a quiet manner. The quiet manner, that, you know what I'm saying? We're going to say No Child Left Behind. We're going to make sure. What happened to this? How about this? For you older people out there, like me and Jim and many others, you remember A, B, C, D, E, F in the grades? Has your child received an F? Has your child received an E?
Mm-hmm.
Aren't you thinking a little bit? I mean, aren't you people out there thinking? Do you believe that bullshit that they've been pushing towards you? Do you understand why your child is just given grades versus earning that? I mean, I remember when I was in school, man, my mama told me, don't embarrass me.
Mm-hmm.
I always say, I'm not embarrassing you, but now I see the things I do reflect upon them.
Yes.
The asshole that I could be then is the asshole that affects the way people look at them.
Exactly.
Now, where is that in the lifestyle of the kids today?
I mean, it's absent. I mean, a lot of that stuff is just, I mean, the kids they carry that mantra of growing up too fast because, I mean, maybe some of their home dynamics, they're forced to grow up too fast, so they don't really have a choice. I mean, even today, that's one of the things perfect example, middle school.
Oh.
A lot of the kids, they cuss. Like, it's almost like
They're sailors.
Like they can't.
They're on the boat.
Like every sentence has to be something with an F-bomb in it or
Hold
some
on.
kind of.
Do they live on boats? Because my question from that F-bomb part is, do they even know what fornication on the contract for the king is? They don't know what the fuck decree is, but they use the word like it's nothing. Yeah, I'm Hip Hop Joe today, okay? I'm gonna chill with it, yo. But the bottom line is simple. Do these kids even know what they're doing? And why aren't you parents chastising the children? I mean, look, I mean, honestly speaking, let's just be honest. Honesty is like, remember the old statement, honesty is the best policy? I tell my mom she's slipping. I mean, mentally slipping on some areas. A lot of areas, believe it or not. Because she's getting older. I told her, if they gave her $1 million today, somebody would have schemed her out of it tomorrow. And the person that schemed her out of it would be about between the age of 45 and 60. Because they've got the intellectual knowledge and the intellectual experience. Now, and not these kids from the millennial generation. I'm talking about our generation. Because the way you present yourself and present what you're going to do. And if you show that you are a boisterous, I don't give a damn person, they're going to sit back and look at you like, yo, I ain't screwing with this one because this one's got their shit on game. Now, when we look at these kids today, what do you see society as? I mean, that's a good question. What do you see the society becoming? Because I'm up in age, you up in age, and the Bitcoin and all these cryptocurrencies that were so beautiful back in the day ain't worth shit. Ain't worth shit.
Nothing at all. They just found out about that just not too long ago, that all that stuff was like a sham almost.
It's a sham.
I mean, how you can't even buy anything in real life with that kind of currency. And then, I mean, once you get it, you're law, like you don't get, that money's gone. Like, you can't spend it. Like, I would always say all these, now I be into the children's book author stuff. So I get a lot of people want to, hey, promote me or promote this, or hey, what about this? What about that? And one of the main peoples that be doing that is those crypto people. They are always notorious for coming out, hey, how you doing? Start off with a slow, mellow, conversation. Then it slowly adds, hey, have you heard about crypto? Yeah, I've heard about it. Hey, no, I'm not interested at all. And if that's the only reason that you're trying to talk to me, you can cut that zero, get lost with that hero, and I'm not talking to you no more. But I just cut that off. I don't waste time. I don't even waste time, man. My cutoff game is different. You know what I mean? If it's something that does not proceed to have something linked to what my purpose is and what I'm trying to do, it's all done. So, but that's an example, of how it is in terms of that. The same thing goes for that. You have a lot of board members and stuff probably in districts across the country that are scamming money off the top and all this stuff, and probably giving themselves tax breaks and stuff off us. It's ridiculous. Giving tax breaks and stuff that's going on with school district budget money.
You know what I mean? PG County right here in Maryland, $750,000 missing.
Missing, just like that.
Hold
missing.
On. But we got worse. We got the Defense Department, who hasn't announced in years how much money they've, missed. Before the Trump administration, we were here, and during the Trump administration. So before he left office, and before he left office, and before he during the time period of his, being president, they would say the Defense Department's missing $5 billion. You remember these stories on the news?
I remember, yeah.
Okay. Remember. Now, in the past year, 2 years, I haven't heard shit. Have you?
It's been silent. No, silent. It's like tumbleweed blowing in the Sahara Desert.
But this is money we're going to have to pay back. I'm sorry. Oh, yeah. This is money that you children out there are going to have to pay. You children and you parents out there are going to have to pay back to make up for the missing money of a federal government agency.
Yeah.
It was given, but it disappeared.
Yeah. All of a sudden, just grew legs and walked right out of the wherever it was.
Yeah.
You're like grew legs and walk clean out.
So what do you? So what do they really think happens in the educational area of the states, counties?
Yeah.
Let's get realistic, people. We're talking reality. We're not talking about conspiracies and the shit that comes from. Because I'm sorry to say this, every conspiracy is becoming a reality, and it should scare you that you people out there are looking at the world today through blinders when it comes to your children, your children's education, and last but not least, your children's health.
Yeah.
Oh, health. That's a big topic.
Just the thing where they just recently opened it up for, I think it's up to 5 years old or something can get.
Hold on. So my newly born child gets a mRNA vaccine that don't work, and this company is making billions of dollars, now trillions of dollars, now zillions of dollars. Yeah, we went up because of the federal government authorizing shots for children. Did I not tell you from the beginning? It does not work.
Mm-hmm.
The CDC said it. You can't kick me off the YouTube off of that one. It was stated by the CDC.
Straight up. So, what if the CDC is saying that, then obviously there is a much higher level of there being issues And I mean, of course, this is all about the money flow. So of course, you know, you got to think like for the perfect example of that, when they pulled the Johnson & Johnson vaccine from the thing, because everybody was getting blood clots and said all this other stuff, they pulled it from the shelves. But when you think about it, Johnson & Johnson is one company, but they're all making the same thing.
They're all making
the same vaccine. They're just different under different companies.
Right.
So you're going to pull Johnson & Johnson from the shelves and say, hey, this is causing problems, this is causing blood clots, this is causing all these medical issues. Pull that off the shelf.
Hey.
Keep Pfizer and Madero and all this other stuff. They're all vaccines for the same thing. It's so crazy. And then having our kids have to be, okay, well, now we'll open it up for the kids. We'll open it up now for the kids and have it educated. Oh, you need to get some states like, oh, you need to have your shot as a mandated part of your requirement for your job. Now you're forcing people, grown people, to make decisions or forcing them to do things. I mean, you in the country, you have a choice if you want abortion or not.
Right.
In the country, you have a choice if you want to smoke.
Supposedly, you remember Roe versus Wade, according to the books, may be overturned.
Oh yeah, I mean, they just recently did the thing where they raised the age to 21 for assault rifles and stuff like that, and artillery and stuff like that. I mean, of course, that was after all this tragedy. You try to do something. I mean, instead of being proactive, you're reactive. And I think in the sense of things, especially when you talk about education, me being an educator, you know, I'm in the school building, I'm within the facilities and stuff like that, and I'm with the children, with the students and stuff like that. And then to think about how my mindset is in terms of knowing what happened with these school shootings and things like that. And it makes you very concerned, because we're always have been reactive after something versus proactive. And I think that does a service to families too, because, you know, in a lot of cases, the children, that is their only safe haven, is the school. They might have turbulent households and things of that nature. So they come to school, that's where they're getting their meals. That's where they feel their safety net is. That's like the safest part of their day. In some situations with kids, that's the safest part of their day.
Hold on. You call it the safest part of their day. But my question at this becomes, as a parent, why can't you get up a little bit earlier to make yourself the kids a Rice Krispies breakfast, you know, or I mean, it sounds like you're pushing all your dependencies and thoughts upon people that don't know your child. And then for a fact, I might throw this in, nowadays you can't even have a school party because, number one, your kid is allergic to peanuts. Can you honestly, as a parent, let's try a little deal, a little honesty. Have you ever thought about why there's an allergy to peanuts? When I grew up in a time where my grandma would make brownies and stuff and send it to school with me so we can have lunches, you know. What happened in this culture where there's so many allergens or so many issues when it comes to children? Help me out, Jim, because I feel stupid sometimes, but no one wants to think about the questions to even consider an answer, or maybe they just, I don't care, laissez-faire, as they say in school back in the old days. Laissez-faire.
I mean, you think about school lunches too. I mean, they're supposed to be nutritional value lunches. But I mean, now it's actually been where
there's a hungry man meal
in our city, within our area of the state, where they've actually gone all in on how unnutritious school lunches are and how unhealthy they look and stuff like that. I mean, I've seen some of the school lunches, and I mean, I wouldn't, if I was some kids, I totally understand. They'd be like, "Mister, that's gross." Like, and I'm looking at the stuff, I'm like, yeah, there's definitely no nutritional value in that right there. But these companies are still getting their money. They're still shipping the food out and everything, and the districts are making their deals with everything. And it's almost like prison food. I mean, and then you prison the pipeline. You get them ready. Prison food, like that's what it'd be looking like half the time. You know what I mean?
Jim, my question is this. I grew up in a time where we had lunch trays with fresh food, cooked.
Yeah.
What happened?
It's gone away. It's all about the money now, and how can you cut corners to spend the least amount of money for the least expensive meal they can give. It's almost like Burger King, McDonald's. Those places use the lowest grade of meat that makes it just enough so it's not canceled by the FDA. So they can use that as their primary meat for their sandwiches. And I mean, Mickey D's, they make billions and trillions of dollars a year off of that. And then our kids, of course, they're focused on the chicken nuggets and all these burgers and Happy Meals and stuff like that. You know what I mean? When a lot of that stuff isn't even real
meat.
Yeah, meat, exactly. It's the lowest grade of meat you can get, you can put out without actually it being illegal in terms of FDA qualifications and stuff like that.
Do you remember the dolphins in McDonald's meat?
Oh my goodness. Yeah. I mean, that was...
they treated it like it was almost like eating a human.
Yeah. That was... that wasn't good. That stuff was terrible.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think that same way, that's the same... I use that as an example because that's the same way that school districts are like almost like they're focused on... It's all about cutting corners. I mean... If a lot of those people on the school boards and all these higher places...
But why don't they eat the school lunches? Why don't the school boards actually go to schools in their district?
Yeah.
Why don't they?
And have a meal there.
Have a meal. Sit in a classroom. Yeah. Look at the kids. Look at little Bobby, Jody, Sudie. And let me say it my way. Look at the little animals you're creating. It's because...
There's such a disconnect there, man. There's such a disconnect with all how... the upper echelon of a lot of the Department of Education is, I think, is so disconnected from what actually happens in classrooms and things across country. And I think that is a major problem. And nobody really, you have your teachers who, some try to fight back or whatever, band together and do some things. But, when you're fighting a beast as big as the Department of Education, this is something we're talking about that covers the country. You know what I mean? When you're fighting a beast like that, you're not going to win. Yeah. You know what I mean? No matter, that has to be a nationwide thing where you come together and say, okay, this has to change.
Right.
This has to be a unified front where we're going to change the dynamics of how our kids are educated and how we're going to progress forward in terms of what our expectations are, curriculum-wise, like what we're going to teach them. You know what I mean? We just had the thing a couple seconds ago where we talked about how all these school books are being pulled out, or parents are complaining about school books because of the content that they have in the libraries, and now they want to pull a lot of those books out. But of course, the Board of Education, the educational system people, they're like, basically backdooring out those meetings, and they're not changing nothing. You know what I mean? Because, why would they? Why would they change anything and go and say, oh, we're going to pull this book because it has sexually graphic depictions or whatever, or some kind of wording or messages in it that's inside the book. And we're talking about, this is from elementary, middle school, high school. Imagine a little elementary kid. He's going to the library, the school library. He's pulling out a random book. And that book happens to have like sexual connotations in it, talking about things that kid has no business at all even having in his hand. Like, period. No business having that book in their hand. How did that, you're talking about that culturally right there is shaping the future of those kids by even having an experience like that, or being set up to be, where those things are the realistic things that are happening now. little Bobby from third grade is going to the school library and he's grabbing whatever book. And I mean, and a lot of time the parents aren't accountable because they don't really pay attention to what the kids are reading or whatever. I mean, the social media has just changed the game of all out of the interaction with the kids. So now they're online making all kind of inappropriate videos and things like that. And it's like, where are the parents and moms of these kids when they're doing all this stuff? Where are they? Like, I mean, it's always, fire and brimstone whenever little Bobby does something and that little Bobby's being affected or something. Mm-hmm. But what about what little Bobby might did to someone else? Or what about when little Bobby is making all these inappropriate videos and stuff and posting them, which the parents don't even know about?
Well, hold on. The biggest issue is this. I'm gonna say you were right about inappropriate videos, but how about this? Do you know what your child's watching? Is your child going to turn 17, 18 years old and show up at school? Well, I have a product for you. It's called Jim Price Educational Analytical Development Radio Show, and it will help you understand and see your child. And it's not saying his, not saying hers. I said it, which makes you see from beyond the border of being a parent in its pure developmental, psychological, analytical ways. If you have a choice between saving your child or saving the children of America, listen to this show and learn a little something, because guess what? The bullshit that you think is in your head would never come out of our mouths. Jim, tell these kids and these parents what kind of game we have going on. Because I find it funny that I will go back and kill before elementary school crowd, and I'm 18 years old. What? Yeah. How about this? I will decree this. If you parents out there actually care about your children,
yeah,
you'll stand up for your children before they get MK Ultra'd and told how to do things that they would never have learned. Thanks to the internet, thanks to these cell phones, thanks to these tablets, thanks to these computers, you have children running around doing what they don't understand.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Jim, can I ask you a question? Do you see that in life? Do you see that amongst the children? Do you see, you're right there in the school, do you see the parents ever standing up?
I mean, like I was saying, it has to be a unified front, and if there's no unified front, then there's not going to be any change. I mean, there just won't be any change, and students around the country will continue to be underserviced in terms of their educational needs and things like that. I mean, and especially when you talk about inner city needs and inner city districts and things like that across the country now, where you go and see that their materials are under budget stuff. They got old books, old computers, old laptops, old everything. I mean, then you go to the right around the corner to another kind of district that has a little bit more different variation in culture. And I mean, they're funded to the T. They got the reading groups, the science groups, the art craft group. They got the computer lab group, after school programming. They got, I mean, the list goes on and on.
What happened at the school programs? What happened? I mean, honestly, I learned photography. I learned how to type and be on computers through after-school programs. What happened to them? A lot of programs involve nursing, education to other areas such as, i.e., accounting and stuff, showing kids. What happened to these school programs that allowed the children to expose themselves, or the parents to expose themselves to what we call the future? What happened?
Yeah, I mean, that's a big part of it. Like, why are we having the kids, their underrepresentation going on, and then we're having these kids be disserviced like in that such a way. And then, of course, I'd be looking around sometimes, I'd be saying to myself, this is the generation that's going to be responsible for a lot of us when we get old and gray.
Oh, hell no. Hell no. You know, let me tell you something. If I had a child from this generation try to take care of me, I'd rather put 2 bullets in my own dome and will my money, like Liberace, to my damn cats. Ain't that funny? I mean, you laugh, everybody laughs, but guess what? The truth is this. I will it for a custodian to my cats. Because guess what? If you expect me to let a child, listen to the word child, meaning uneducated fool, control what happens in my life, who has no experience to understand what's going on in this world other than a video game. If I allow that child to go shopping for me and bring me food, and you expect me to believe that a child spent $500 on 3 brown paper bags of food, I'm the fool at that point. That's where we're coming to. We have children dictating to their adults how to live, how to think, what's new, what's going on. And last but not least, how about this? Just imagine one of those children trying to tell me about my love life.
Yeah. And that's the thing. I mean, you see it now. I see it in middle school now, where you see the dynamics of how they have their own structures of whatever going on, and their own little cliques and things like that. And I mean, they have their own way of doing things, and I mean that also incorporates all the swearing and cussing that goes on. And I mean, it's like it's very
you hate that shit. Look, that's your big issue, the swearing and cussing going on. Yeah, it would be mine too, as a counselor, as a teacher, educator, since you got to upgrade because you use upgraded terms, educator. And then you got all that going on with little Buffy and Jody, dumber than a bag of rocks, trying to tell you how to live your life. It almost sounds like the metaphysical community there is today. And I slapped y'all good for that one, because guess what? Metaphysics is no better than a Christianity when it comes to belief standards. None of it's any better within each other, because you people out there haven't learned who you are. You remember there's a statement in the Bible, and the Bible said, God is within us.
Yeah.
And now, you parents are teaching your children to be independent gods. You teachers are giving these kids the ability of independent gods. Hold on, let me start blaming people. You educators in the educational forum from primary to college and above are telling these kids, you are gods. Because you kids have the power to change the world. You sons of bitches don't ever try to change mine.
That's the dynamic of what we see today. A lot of times, nobody wants to be accountable for what's going on, but everybody is okay with pointing the finger.
That's what they do.
Nobody's accountable, but everybody is okay. I mean, that goes parents across the board too. Parents will point fingers. The districts, the higher ups, and as far as their stuff, they'll point fingers. I mean, you got everybody pointing fingers, but then when you think about, okay, where's the solution to the problem? Everybody's pointing. It's almost like the Democrats, Republicans. They do the same thing. Everybody point fingers. Everybody's always, this side fault. Oh, that side fault. Oh, this side fault. I mean, what about everybody just be quiet and have a real solution? What about that part? Like, have it come together and be like, yo, this is the solution. This is what we're going to do to solve this problem. And that's what happens in school districts. I mean, a lot of school districts, the higher ups that are in the Department of Education, they don't experience anything that's going on the ground. They don't experience what's going on in the classroom.
They
just
want to know.
Stop and make decisions, and most of the time, some of those decisions they make, they probably wouldn't even put their own children in some of those situations in terms of the decisions they make.
If they had children. If they had children. If. You got to use the if word. If they had children. Because as we already discussed, a majority of those people on these school boards are gay, number one.
Yep.
Number two, they don't have children. And number three, they are not of color. So you're letting these three groups to dictate your child's existence, life, abilities, and dreams. And they call it for the next generation, but hold on. These people are from the past generation, and you believe that BS that they spewing? Come on now, Cletus. Wake the fuck up, people. Wake up, please. Because, I mean, I might have to just say, Penny, you pre-record your own show, and now I can go through this show with my man for 6 hours. Because there's so much information that we want to slap you with to wake you parents and people and individuals up. Wake you up, because you are lost. You allowed a governing body to control you when the Constitution of the United States government says you, humans, you people, you law-abiding and living in this land, citizens, have representation. And if representation does not flow with your ideological thoughts, you have the right to get rid of them. And that goes to the Department of Education as well.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's so much more that can be covered in terms of like this whole topic right here, where we talk about how the cultural relevances in education and how that affects and influenced by all the budgeting that goes on in terms of decisions that are made by the higher ups. And
hold on, but you got to let them know all that budgeting and numbers and all that BS. Let me hit it right quick. Let me tell you the value of the dollar. The dollar's value is whatever I choose it to be. Well, how about a bar of gold? It's the amount that I choose it to be. If I find value in it, good. If I don't, then screw you. So if you want to really understand numerical systems, numerical ideologies, numerical, I was going to say the Monopoly guy, Newman's name on that one. If